All right, we're going to go back to our next guest and bring him on just as soon as we can. That's Arnold Leitner, founder and CEO of YouSolar Inc. All right, Arnold, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you here.
So, you want to talk about the changing solar market today, and I'm happy to do that for you.
I do. Give us a little bit of background, how you come into what you're doing now, and then let's walk all the way through what you're doing over there at YouSolar.
Yeah, I started early in solar, in 1993, working on thin film solar, which today, of course, is a leading technology with First Solar, and then changed directions, and ultimately became an advisor to the U.S. Department of Energy. And in 2002, published a study for the DOE called Fuel from the Sky, predicting an explosion of the market and suggesting that gigawatts of solar power could and should be possible. That this is a real source of energy, not just for calculators and road signs. And now, 15 years later, we're building gigawatts of solar around the world, mostly utility scale in the deserts or dry areas or arid areas of the world, but also on rooftops. And so after that, and after starting a company in that sector and successfully selling it, I asked myself, where's solar moving next? And my view was there was a place that, we had to go, and that was in emerging markets, which, have billions of customers, a very high need, and to give them a product that works whether the grid is up or down or whether there's no grid at all. And the product really that you're targeting replacing are diesel generators. So that is the next frontier of solar that I see after we've exploited in rooftop solar that is grid tied, as well as the utility scale market. There's a new opportunity, and I'll give you an example, if you don't mind, of something similar where solar has kind of taken down an industry. And so if you look at the solar lantern business, there was a product out there, candles and kerosene lights in Africa and emerging markets,
Right.
and they were completely replaced within a few years by solar lanterns. So Africa or emerging markets weren't lit up by cheaper candles; they were lit up by new product. And it's a market that sold 25 million systems, I believe, to people that can barely afford it, showing you how the tremendous value that brings to the market. And now we're looking at a $15 billion market for small diesel generators around the world, not just in emerging markets, that's also ready for the taking. So that is the opportunity that we see. And it goes actually beyond that, because if you think of a diesel generator, it's a backup or primary power system. It's one that's behind the meter. So fundamentally, we see that a lot of the solar systems are going to move behind the meter, away from utility control. They don't need utility anymore for grid ties. They can use the battery to self-store their energy. And we see a huge opportunity in that entire sector.
What about batteries? Because there's a lot of issues with solar and batteries.
Yeah, so batteries are actually a very key part to this entire movement to go behind the meter and kind of cut the dependence from the from the utility industry. And the reason is the following. Batteries, commonly people think of them as a source of energy. They store your energy. But really, more importantly, what they deliver to a solar system, during daytime even, is power, instantaneous power to start up an air conditioner, for example, which requires 3 to 4 times more electricity to get going than to run. And that comes from batteries. So batteries actually leverage the solar system like a entirely complementary system. And the issues that batteries have for storage and durability are mostly being resolved. We have prices now and reliabilities that are just shocking. For example, companies give routinely warranties, for 10,000 cycles. That's 25 plus years of using a battery. These batteries can now be discharged to 100% of their capacity. Now, there are cost issues, but these cost issues are approaching that of grid parity in many markets. And when it comes to diesel generators, you're already well below those numbers. You half the cost of diesel when you do use a solar battery power system.
I want to get into how YouSolar is a market disruptor. What makes you different from the rest of the solar companies out there when it comes to these different uses for solar and the different geographical locations you're talking about going into?
That's a very good question. So the people that live in emerging markets, the reason they go for a diesel is because it's known, it's easy to maintain, you can transport it, plug it down, and operate it. So one of the constraints that you have in emerging markets is a lack of supporting infrastructure. So you have to give something that works anywhere in the world, something that moves fast through the channels. And also, then you need something that doesn't rely on utility. And also, you need something that is modular, that fits the customer needs. Because unlike a grid-tied customer, say in California, he gets a standard 10-kilowatt system. Whatever he doesn't need, he puts on the grid and takes it back later. But if you are somewhere and you have to store and use all of that energy yourself, you want something that fits your needs. So fundamentally, there were three things we decided had to be done. We had to make a system that is plug and play, that is modular, and that can be sold anywhere in the world, and is high power and can replace diesel generators. And you think you can just go out there and buy something. And, there's a story from Tesla that I heard from the founder that Tesla, when it built its first Roadster, just thought it could go out and buy a motor, right? Electric motor. How hard could this be? We got a little Roadster here, low battery. Let's find a motor for it. They couldn't find one. They had to do that. They had to wind their own electric motor. So you find when you try to do something like this and go out in a new market that you can just repurpose existing components and kind of make them work together. But as it turned out, that was not the case. So we had to make everything ourselves, design our own power electronics, our own controls, our own user interface, and we've fundamentally come up with an entirely new architecture that has a user friendliness and customer focus that's just unprecedented. You and I, literally, Michael, you could buy one of our systems and put it together in an hour and run your house of it. I don't think you can do this with anything that SolarCity or Sunrun or any of those companies can deliver to you. These systems require installers, they're complex, and so that is one of the major differentiations.
That's a big one.
Yeah, because it breaks down barriers.
Yep.
Right? What is the biggest barrier to solar? Customer acquisition, right? Getting it to the customer, installing it. If you can tell a customer, well, you can just buy it. Think of it. It's like the PC business, or the desktop business, I should say. Before there was PCs, you had to remember how you had to buy a monitor, and then they asked you what driver you needed for the keyboard and for the hard drive, and God forbid you want to do anything graphically, you had to get a graphic card. And here comes, Macintosh and ultimately, the iMac and more so. And now when I buy my new iMac, I get like two screens. I click, what's your name? Click, you want to back up in the cloud? Click, you're ready to go. And that's been missing in the solar industry. And, with that, the hurdles to getting going, especially in those markets, are much reduced.
Arnold, we're about at the end of the segment here, but before you go, contact information for the investors that want to get in and partner with you, and the customers that want to get started with YouSolar.
Yes. So they come to our website. We're just about to change because we're going selling commercial, but come to yousolar.com. There's a get info box. But if you want to send me an email directly, my name is Arnold, and then a period, and Leitner, Leitner, at yousolar.com. Send me an email, and we are happy to have you in our investor base.
Thank you for being on the show, Arnold.
Well, thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. Arnold Leitner, founder, CEO, YouSolar, yousolar.com. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba. This segment brought to you by Tycon Partners. We'll be right back.